One of these movies used a material so bizarre for its monster effects, you'd never guess what it was. Modern horror has a problem, and if you're a real one, you already know what it is. It's the CGI. That floaty, weightless, looks like a video game CGI that pulls you right out of the movie. But back in the 80s, there was no fix-it in post. If you wanted a monster on screen, you had to build it. We're talking latex, foam rubber, animatronics, gallons of fake blood, and a team of artists working around the clock to make something that could genuinely make you sick. Today, I have 10 creature features from the 1980s where the practical effects are so good, they still look better than anything that Hollywood is putting out right now. Let's get gooey. We're starting with a movie where the effects artist was so dedicated, he ended up in the hospital. John Carpenter's The Thing. If you know, you know. And if you haven't seen this movie, I envy you, because you get to experience it for the first time. The creature effects in this film were designed by Rob Bottin. The man was 22 years old when he started this project. 22. He led a crew of about 35 special makeup effects artists and pushed himself so hard during production, he was hospitalized for exhaustion by the time filming wrapped. Bottin used a mix of prosthetics, animatronics, foam latex, and, here it is, bubblegum. That's right, bubblegum was one of the materials used to get that stretchy, organic texture on the creatures. The chest chomp scene, the spider head, the dog thing in the kennel. Actually, fun fact, the dog kennel scene was the one creature effect Bottin didn't do. That was handled by Stan Winston as a favor to the production. But if you think bubblegum is a weird effects material, wait until you hear what another effects legend on this list used. And trust me, it's way more disgusting. This movie bombed at the box office in 1982 because it opened 2 weeks after E.T. Audiences wanted a friendly alien. Not this. But time proved Carpenter right. The effects in The Thing haven't aged a single day. Not one. The next movie on this list has a death scene so creative, I had to rewind it 3 times the first time I saw it. Movie number 2, The Blob, 1988. The 1988 remake of The Blob is one of the most underappreciated horror remakes ever made. Forget the goofy original. This version is mean. The Blob doesn't just absorb people, it dissolves them. You see skin melting, bodies folding over themselves, people getting pulled into drains. The effects team built full-scale practical rigs for almost every death scene. The famous sink drain kill? That was a fully mechanical effect. They built a prosthetic body that could be physically pulled down through a drain-sized opening. No computers, no digital trickery, just engineering and latex. What makes this movie special for effects fans is the sheer variety. Every single death is different. The Blob adapts, and the effects team had to create a completely new practical setup for each kill. And that's not even the wildest kill in the movie, but I'll let you discover that one yourself. If you've never seen the 1988 Blob, put it at the top of your list. It's a masterclass in what practical effects can do when the filmmakers aren't afraid to go all in. Quick check. If you've already seen The Thing and The Blob, drop a skull emoji in the comments right now. Let me see how many real ones are in here. Every movie so far has been about monsters. The next one? It's about watching someone you love become one. Movie number 3, The Fly, 1986. David Cronenberg's The Fly is not just a creature feature, it's a tragedy. Jeff Goldblum's transformation from man to insect is one of the most disturbing things ever put on film. And it's because every stage of that transformation was built by hand. The makeup effects were created by Chris Wallace and makeup artist Stephen Dupuis. Goldblum sat through hours of prosthetic application for each stage of the Brundlefly transformation. We're talking 5 distinct stages of decay, each one more horrifying than the last. The team sculpted individual prosthetic pieces that were glued directly to Goldblum's face and body. And it was so good, it won an Oscar, the Academy Award for Best Makeup. And that was before the Academy even took horror seriously. But the thing is, The Fly wasn't the first horror movie to win that award. That honor belongs to a movie later on this list. What makes The Fly hit different than every other movie on this list is this. You don't just see a monster. You watch a man become one. And because those effects are real, because that's actual latex and foam on Goldblum's face, your brain can't dismiss it. It feels real because it is real. That's the power of practical effects. Now, The Fly won an Oscar for its effects, but the next movie on this list was directed by a man who built the monsters for some of the biggest movies in history. The man behind Aliens, Predator, and Jurassic Park said, "Let me show you what I can really do." Movie number 4, Pumpkinhead, 1988. Pumpkinhead was the directorial debut of Stan Winston. When the greatest creature effects artist decides to direct his own movie, he builds the monster himself. The Pumpkinhead demon was a full bodysuit combined with animatronic head controls. Winston's team designed a creature that was tall, skeletal, and almost elegant in how terrifying it looked. If you look closely, you can see similarities to his alien queen design from Aliens. It has that same spindly, biomechanical feel, but fleshier and more demonic. The creature was performed by a suit actor with rod puppeteers controlling the head and facial movements separately, every snarl, every twitch of the lip. That was done manually on set. Pumpkinhead is one of those movies where the creature design alone makes it worth watching. Stan Winston didn't just make a monster, he made a work of art. Okay, I need to warn you about this next one. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. This might be the most disturbing scene on this list. Movie number 5, Society, 1989. If you haven't seen Society, what I'm about to describe is going to sound like I'm making it up. I'm not. Society was directed by Brian Uza, and the effects for the finale were created by a man who literally goes by the name Screaming Mad George. That should tell you everything. The climax of this movie is called The Shunting. Without spoiling too much, the wealthy elite reveal their true nature, and it involves human bodies melting, merging, and fusing together into a massive, wet, surreal pile of flesh. Screaming Mad George created all of this practically. Every stretching face, every merging body, every impossible contortion. That's latex, foam, and mechanical rigs. His effects have this very distinct quality. They look simultaneously artificial and disturbingly organic, rubbery and fleshy at the same time. It's surrealist art disguised as body horror. Society flew under the radar when it came out, but it has become one of the most talked about cult films in the horror community. And once you see the shunting scene, you will never forget it. I promise you that. We're halfway through, and I haven't even gotten to the movie that created an entire Oscar category. That's coming. If you're enjoying this, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next deep dive. Quick shout out to the fuel behind this marathon of practical horror, Dubby Energy. If you're gonna binge these movies back to back, and you should, you're gonna need something to keep you locked in. Dubby keeps me going through these late night editing sessions and horror deep dives. Use my promo code SilverScreen at the checkout for a discount. Link is in the description. Alright, back to the gore. After all that dark, gooey horror, the next movie's like dropping acid in a Lovecraft novel. The colors alone make it worth watching. Movie number 6, From Beyond, 1986. If you've been paying attention to this list, you might notice a pattern. The 80s horror scene was a very small world. From Beyond was directed by Stuart Gordon, the same director behind Reanimator, and stars Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton again. It's like the Avengers of 80s horror. The premise: a machine called the Resonator stimulates the human pineal gland, allowing people to see and be seen by creatures from another dimension. And those creatures, all practical, slimy, pulsating, Lovecraftian nightmares brought to life with prosthetics and mechanical effects. What sets From Beyond apart visually is the color palette. This movie is drenched in pinks and purples. The lighting is neon and psychedelic, which makes the creature effects pop off the screen in a way that most dark, shadowy horror films can't match. If you're looking for a creature feature that's both visually stunning and genuinely disturbing, From Beyond delivers on both counts. Remember when I said one effects artist used a material way more disgusting than bubblegum? This is the guy, and what he used? Real pig intestines. Movie number 7, Day of the Dead, 1985. George Romero's Day of the Dead is the third film in his legendary zombie trilogy. and it contains what I believe is the greatest zombie effects ever committed to film. And it was done by one man, Tom Savini. Savini used his own basement as the base of operations to build every single zombie effect before production started. The level of detail is insane. Every zombie has unique individual decay and damage, but the real showstoppers are the death scenes. During the gory sequences, Savini used real pig intestines. That's not a rumor, that's confirmed. When you see a character get ripped apart, those are actual animal organs being pulled out of a prosthetic body. One key detail: when building Captain Rhodes' prosthetic arm for the iconic ripping scene, the original material didn't tear convincingly, so Savini remade it using wax, which gave the perfect tearing effect on camera. Tom Savini set the standards for zombie effects that still hasn't been topped. Not by The Walking Dead, not by World War Z, not by anything in my opinion. Day of the Dead is the benchmarker. Alright, we've had a lot of gore, a lot of slime. Let's lighten things up with Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Movie number 8, Killer Klowns from Outer Space, 1988. This movie is exactly what it sounds like. Alien clowns invade a small town and kill people with circus-themed weapons. Cotton candy cocoons, shadow puppet dinosaurs, pie that melts your face. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I mean that in the highest compliment. Killer Klowns was created by the Kyoto brothers, Stephen, Charles, and Edward, who wrote, directed, and produced the film and designed all the creature effects themselves. These guys built every clown by hand in their own workshop, no studio support, no massive budget. Just 3 brothers and a garage full of latex. Every single clown was a full bodysuit with an oversized animatronic head. The Kyotos built each clown to have a unique design, from the short pudgy ones to the towering Clownzilla at the end. The genius of these effects is that they're intentionally cartoonish, but executed with dead serious craftsmanship. The suits are immaculately detailed, the animatronics are expressive, and the kill scenes are inventively gross. Killer Klowns is proof that practical effects don't always have to be scary. Sometimes they can be fun. And honestly, those clown faces are still creepier than 90% of CGI monsters I've seen this year. Remember when I said a horror movie was responsible for creating an entire Oscar category? This is it. Movie number 9, An American Werewolf in London, 1981. If there is one practical effects scene that every single person needs to see, it's the transformation in An American Werewolf in London. It didn't just win an Oscar, it created the category. The effects were created by Rick Baker, and this film won him the very first Academy Award for Best Makeup. The category literally didn't exist before this movie. The Academy created it because of what Baker did here. The transformation scene took about a week to film. Baker built mechanical stretching limbs, a full-size extended snout, and individual hand and foot pieces that could elongate on camera. David Naughton, the actor, was lying on the floor while mechanical rigs underneath him physically pushed and pulled the prosthetics to simulate bones breaking and reshaping in real time. There are no cuts to hide the effect. Baker wanted you to see everything, and you do. Rick Baker went on to win 7 Academy Awards for makeup over his career, but it all started here. This scene proves that practical effects can be just as jaw-dropping as anything a computer would eventually create. And honestly, over 40 years later, no werewolf transformation, CGI or otherwise, has topped it. We've seen aliens, zombies, demons, mutants, and killer clowns. But I saved the one that created a horror icon for last. And the most impressive effect in this movie? It's not the one you think. Movie number 10, Hellraiser, 1987. Clive Barker's Hellraiser gave us Pinhead and the Cenobites, and every single one of them was brought to life with practical effects by Bob Keane and his team at Image Animation. But the Cenobites aren't even the most impressive effect in this movie. The resurrection of Frank Cotton is, a body literally reconstructs itself from nothing. Bones emerge from a puddle of slime, muscles weave over the skeleton, and a skinless man rises from the floor. Bob Kane achieved this using a combination of reverse photography, mechanical rigs, and intricately sculpted prosthetic pieces. The skinless Frank was actor Oliver Smith, wearing a full bodysuit that Kane meticulously detailed to look like exposed muscle and sinew. Every chain, every hook, every torn piece of flesh in this movie, all practical, all built by hand. Clive Barker once said he wanted to create images that people had never seen before. Bob Kane made that possible. Hellraiser is the perfect movie to close this list because it proves the ultimate point. Practical effects don't just create monsters, they create icons. That's 10 creature features from the 1980s where the practical effects blow modern CGI out of the water. And here's the thing, these movies weren't made with $100 million budgets. They were made by artists who got their hands dirty, literally. Latex, foam, fake blood, pig guts, and bubblegum. Now I want to hear from you. Which one of these 10 movies has the best practical effects? Drop your pick in the comments, and if I missed one, and I know some of you are going to come at me, tell me which 80s creature feature deserves to be on this list. If you're new here, hit subscribe. We go deep on horror, sci-fi, and everything the screen has to offer. Until next time, go watch them, if you dare.